Hi, I'm Alex from airCFO, the best-in-class back-office platform for venture-backed tech companies. In this Startup Spotlight series, we'll be talking to leaders at world-changing startups about how airCFO has helped support them throughout their startup journeys. Today, we're joined by William DeLey, COO and CFO at Edge Impulse. William, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. My name is William DeLey. I'm the COO and CFO of Edge Impulse. Edge Impulse is the world's leading AI platform for developers to develop AI for edge network devices. Edge Impulse is very important to developers because we allow developers to add intelligence into small constrained devices that were really never able to take that intelligence in the past. I joined Edge Impulse about a year and a half ago, and when I joined Edge Impulse, the accounting and finance operations was supported by airCFO and really didn't have an operations function. With the help of airCFO, we were able to actually scale up the operations function quite quickly and efficiently, which was critical at the time because the CEO was spending way too much time in details that didn't really add up to the value needed for a CEO to spend time on. One of the great things about airCFO and the support that airCFO provides to companies like Edge Impulse is that it really frees up a lot of the time for executives to spend on strategic matters or spend time in front of customers or with partners or investors. When I came into this role, it was very evident that our CEO was spending way too much time into some of these details, and my first thing was I need to get him out of these details because otherwise we're going to be missing out on customer opportunities that are much more valuable. Where is the airCFO really helping companies accelerate their operations functions is in a couple of ways. Number one, airCFO brings a set of tools and processes that cut across both the accounting side and also I'll call it the finance side of operations, meaning you got to close the books, but you also need to project what the business is going to look like into the future with some degree of success. In terms of how you deploy that, well, that's the good news, is that actually airCFO can flexibly adapt to the vision of somebody like myself who comes in with more experience on the operations side and start to implement new processes or tools or metrics that help us measure the business in ways that we wouldn't be able to do unless we hired up an entire finance function. That flexibility, that ability to kind of adapt to the processes, to the vision, to the market that we're in is quite helpful.
What would you say are some of the key results that have come out of our work together beyond getting Zach pulled out of the day-to-day and more focused on other strategic initiatives?
One of the things that really allowed us to establish additional credibility with the board was our ability to deliver financial forecasts, financial statements, and metrics that allowed the board to get the same level of visibility and transparency into our business that we as a management team had. Before I joined, we had a set of reports, financial reports that would go into the board deck, and they were somewhat limited in terms of their insight that they provided. But over time, the combination of working with CFO and mapping our business to what our board was looking for, we were able to really establish a strong foundation where the board really trusts the financial information that we provide. And that financial information is really being developed with the help of airCFO folks.
What specific aspect do you like most about working with airCFO's team?
Yeah, the thing that I like working most about airCFO's team is that the folks that airCFO hires are very sharp. I've worked with a lot of finance folks over my career, and I'll just say that actually the spreadsheet skills and some of the financial modeling skills are top notch. I also like the responsiveness. While we get, quote, part-time support from airCFO as part of this model, the responsiveness that I get in the engagement is great. And so I have never had a situation where in preparing for a board meeting or preparing for a management meeting, I needed some information that I couldn't deliver it because I couldn't get the support from my external finance team, aka airCFO, to deliver those deliverables.
Are there any recommendations that you'd have to an early stage founder about working with airCFO and how they can get the most out of the support that our team can provide?
This is a partnership, and you have to start with first principles. And a partnership means there's gives and gets. And I know that I'm not the easiest customer to service because I have high standards. I've been working in technology for a long time, and we're operating at a very fast pace in a fairly complicated environment. We have 3 business segments. They all operate differently. We measure them in specific sorts of ways. And as we move quickly, we need a partner who really moves quickly with us. So in terms of advice I would give to other founders, be very clear what your expectations are and what your milestones are that you're looking for the airCFO team, and then work out a model to help deliver against that and check in to make sure that what you're getting or what you want is what you're getting. And if you don't, you can adapt. We've had situations with airCFO in the past where I've had to step in and say, hey, look, we need some major changes in this one area. We need to kind of focus on this together because it's not it's not an arm's length relationship here. This is a partnership model. And so we're both learning together. And I think if a founder takes the partnership approach and realizes this is just not a one-way relationship, both parties can benefit. I would recommend airCFO to a founder, and especially an early stage founder. When I say early stage, that can be seed, that can be Series A, Series B, if you're venture, even if you're bootstrapping or a different. And the reason is because of, I think, this flexibility, this partnership model that while airCFO doesn't really maybe talk about as much, airCFO will adapt to. And so I think that principle, that standard of behavior is differentiating. And look, there's lots of options for founders to choose from. Lots of VCs have lots of relationships, but this is the relationship that we've built together over the last year and a half, and which goes beyond my tenure even at the company. I think is been valuable, and because it's been valuable for us in our circumstance, which is not that different from what other founders might be facing, they should be trying out airCFO and at least having a discussion with you and the team to see what's possible. Our financial model has evolved and grown, much like our business has grown, and airCFO has been right there with us to help to evolve that. I will say that the model is not for the faint of heart. So if anybody is like myself, thinking that you're going to go into the model and be able to check the back references, you probably don't want to go down that path because the model requires a level of sophistication and I'll call it Google Sheet or Excel skills that are well beyond most founders or most even operational folks like myself who have spent a ton of time in spreadsheets, because of the way that the model is set up to really pull everything from historical financials to contract level customer forecasting, capacity forecasting in a SaaS model, which is based upon bookings capacity. There's a lot of complexity there. So I think the model has evolved. I also think my own way of engaging with airCFO has evolved, where before I really wanted to back test a lot of the links. I realized that's actually not my best use of my time. I should be looking at the output and say, does the output make sense? If not, let's go back to airCFO and ask why. And I spend a lot of times doing scenario analysis and saying this number might make sense or doesn't make sense. Let's go back and see if actually our assumptions that we're using to drive the model are delivering what we would expect to have happen. And so that's been quite a learning for me over time as well.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add about your experience working with airCFO?
There's a lot of third-party accounting and finance services that are out there that are going to be knocking on founders' doors, and it usually comes down to the people that you work with that really delivers the value at the end of the day, not surprisingly. And so I think it's definitely worth a founder's time if they're considering either swapping out their existing finance folks, or they haven't found one and they're looking for one, to consider airCFO, because I think the service is comprehensive. You can get all of your financial functions from just closing the books to actually support doing accounts receivable or payables. which we do on a weekly basis, all the way to forecasting the business, which is fundamental for growing the business and managing to a good burn. So airCFO does all of that, and I think because of that and because of our successful partnership so far, it's something that people should check out.
William, thank you so much for speaking with us today. It's been a pleasure to work with you and the Edge team, and we're really excited to see what you're able to accomplish in the future. Once again, I'm Alex from airCFO. Thank you for tuning in to our Startup Spotlight series.